Appearance days of the Vaishnavas, Srila Prabhupada always used to chant one very special song. I don't know, is Sranga Thakur here? Not here. He's the best, but anyway, then your humble self will try his hand. If you have your devices, you can all look up ā-jānu-lambita-bhuja. Beautiful song by our great Narottam Das Thakur. ā-jānu-lambita-bhuja Karuna prachur Eno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kaha mora swarup rupa Kaha sanatan Kaha dasa ragu nata Patita Pava Kahamura Bhata Juga Kaha Kavira Kakale kota gela gora natara Pasani kutivo mata Anale Bashivo Goranga Gunera Nidhi Kote Gele Bamo Ye sava sangira sange je kailo bila se sangana paya Khande narotamada Se sangana paya Khande narotamada Jayanilo premadana Karuna prachur Ena Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vaishnava Thakur ki Jai Nitalila Vishnu Vishnupada Stavangri Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananda Guri Vaishnava Vrinda ki Sad Goswami Prabhu ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana ki Braja Bhumi Vrindavan Dham ki Grantara Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki. Anybody have some glasses? I forgot to bring my glasses with me. Oh, my goodness. I think mine is about 2 or something like that, so 1.5 or 2. Huh? Okay. Not quite. Not a little blurry. Anyway, somehow we'll manage. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 3. Those look very small. These look nice. We'll try.
See how they go.
Don't go away, maybe they won't work. Getting old, huh? You forgot to bring them. Okay, it's a little better. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. So this is a chapter, External Reasons for Lord Chaitanya's Appearance. And we're starting with text number 43. Nyagoja parimandala haya tanra nama. Nigroda parimandala tanu chaitanya gunadama. So we're describing the description of Lord Chaitanya's beautiful form when he appeared. Such a person is called Nyagroda Parimandala. Let's go back and see what 42 was. One who measures 4 cubits in height and in breadth by his own hand is celebrated as a great personality. Such a person is called Nyagroda Parimandala. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who personifies all good qualities, has the body of a Nyagroda Parimandala. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. No one other than the Supreme Lord Himself, who has engaged the conditioned souls by His own illusory energy, can possess these bodily features. These features certainly indicate an incarnation of Vishnu and no one else. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Adadanastranadantai Ridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripasindhuvaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So somebody who measures, what does it say? 4 cubits in height and in breadth by his own hand is celebrated as a great personality. So such a person is called Nyagroda Parimandala. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personifies all good qualities as the body of a Nyagroda Parimandala. So text 44, it's almost like the first verse of Chaitanya Bhagavat. ā-jānu-lambita-bhuja, kamala-locana, tilaphula-jini-nāsā, sudhāṁśu-vadana. His arms are long enough to reach his knees. Janu we know from history of Ganga that Janu is name of means up to the knees. So Janu Rishi swallowed the Ganga because she was coming right where he was sitting and meditating. And some people say she came from the ear, some people she came from the knee. That's why she became Jahnavi. Some people say that because she came from Janu she became Jahnavi anyway. So ā-jānu, up to the knees, ā-jānu-lambita, who has arms stretching up to the knees. ā-jānu-lambita-bhuja, whose arms are long enough to reach his knees. Kamala-locana, his eyes are just like lotus flowers. We know kamala means lotus flower. Tilaphula-jini-nāsā. Nāsā means nose. His nose is like a sesame flower. One time when we were on Braj Prikama, because in Kartik that's when the sesame flowers bloom. So we went through the sesame flower field, and I remember in the Goswami literature they're always describing Radharani's nose just like a sesame flower, or Krishna's nose like a sesame flower. This is very common. So I picked one sesame flower and I looked at it. It didn't at all look like a nose. It was very light color like our Srimati Radhika. has a very golden complexion. We'll hear about that later. So I said, oh well, it's a nice analogy, but I don't understand. The next year, we went on Braj Prakama with Lokanath Maharaj. We walked through the same dill field, sesame flower field, and I looked at the flower just hanging there on the bush. And if you see it, it comes down, one petal comes down and goes blip, like that. Another petal comes over the side, blip. Another petal comes down and goes blip. And then I understood, because it's just like a little nose, a little turned up, because Radharani's nose is just a little turned up at the end. So, you know, and the nose sort of flares out like that, so the two petals like that. So wherever you turn it, it always looks like a nose. So that's how this analogy is made. So what's next? Sudhāṁśu-vadana. And vadana, we know, means face. His face is as beautiful as the moon. Another name for the moon is sudhāṁśu, because he's giving rays of nectar. Sudha means, we know, as opposed to shuddha, sudha means nectar, and amsu means rays. So sudhāṁśu is another name for the moon. Śānta dānta kṛṣṇa-bhakti-niṣṭhā-parāyaṇa bhakta-vatsala su-śīla sarva-bhūte sama. He is peaceful, Santa, of course we know, self-controlled and fully devoted to the transcendental service of Lord Sri Krishna. He is affectionate towards his devotees. He is gentle, and he is equally disposed toward all living beings. These qualities were found in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chandanera angada bala chandana bhusana nitya kali pari karina Krishna sankirtana. Chandanera, we know chandan means sandalwood. And this sounds very much like a verse from Vishnu Sahasranam, which we'll hear in the next sloka, I think. He is decorated with sandalwood bangles and armlets and anointed with the pulp of sandalwood. He especially wears these decorations to dance in Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Esava gunalaya muni rasampayana sahasranama kaila tanra nama ganana. Recording all these qualities of Lord Chaitanya, the sage Vaisampayana included his name in the Vishnu Sahasranam. Dui lila Chaitanyera adi arashesha, dui lilaya chari chari nama vishesha. The pastimes of Lord Chaitanya have two divisions: the early pastimes, Adi Lila, and the later pastimes, Shesha Lila. He has 4 names in each of these 2 Leelas. So here it comes. This is from Mahabharata, from the Vishnu Sahasranam Stotra. Suvarna varna hemango varangas chandana gadi sannyasa krish chama śānta nisṭhā-parāyaṇa. In his early pastimes, he appears as a householder with a golden complexion. His limbs are beautiful and his body smeared with the pulp of sandalwood. And it appears like molten gold. In his later pastimes, he accepts the sannyas order and he is equipoised and peaceful. He is the highest abode of peace and devotion, for he silences the impersonalist non-devotees. So this is a verse from the Mahabharata, Dhanadharma, Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra. In his commentary on the Vishnu Sahasranama, called the Nam Artha Sudha, Srila Baladev Vidyabhusan, commenting upon this verse, asserts that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, according to the evidence of the Upanishads. He explains that the Suvarna Varna means a golden complexion. Suvarna means golden. He also quotes the Vedic injunction, Yada pasyaha pasyate rukmavarnam kartaram imam purusham brahmajonim, Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.3. Rukmavarnam kartaram isham refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as having a complexion the color of molten gold. Just like yesterday our Sanatana Dharma Prabhu so nicely explained to us. That's why King Bhishmaka, all his children begin with Ruk, Rukma, Rukmi, and finally Rukmini, all mean they're very golden complexion. So, Purusham means a supreme person, and Brahmajonim indicates that he is also the supreme Brahman. This evidence, too, proves that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Another meaning of the description of the Lord as having a golden hue is that Lord Chaitanya's personality is as fascinating as gold is attractive. Srila Ballabha Vidyabhushan has explained that the word Varanga means exquisitely beautiful. Lord Chaitanya accepted sannyas, having set aside his household life to preach his mission. He has equanimity in his different senses. First, he describes the confidential truth of the personality of Godhead, and second, he satisfies everyone by knowledge and attachment to Krishna. He is peaceful because he renounces all topics not related to the service of Krishna. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan has explained that the word nishtha indicates his being rigidly fixed in chanting the holy name of Sri Krishna. Lord Chaitanya subdued all disturbing opponents of his devotional service, especially the monists, who were actually averse to the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are very relishable verses of our Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and here proved even from the Upanishads, even from Mahabharata, that we have no doubt that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki! So we'll dedicate the rest of this class. We have the disappearance day of Jagannath Das Babaji. So, Jagannath Das Babaji, he's the one who found or confirmed. Bhaktivinoda did all the research and found one place. And he brought Bhaktivinoda Thakur brought him to that place to confirm. And I was just reading, there's one nice article in the Gaudiya by Yamunananda Das, disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yamunananda Das, what a nice name. So he describes that there was some festival in the Delhi mutt, so everybody left, but he didn't like to go to festivals. He always got sick, so he stayed behind to take care of the mutt. And after putting the deities to rest, he was sitting on top of the roof of the Chaitanya mutt there, just beyond the bus stand. There's a Chaitanya mutt. He was chanting, but it was 4 days and the devotees were gone. He was all alone. He was feeling restless and disturbed. And all of a sudden he heard somebody with a cane coming slowly up the steps. And that fellow came and he paid his obeisances to that Yamunananda paid his obeisances to that old venerable Vaishnava. And the Vaishnava sat down. He says, now I'm 86 years old. It's very difficult to move here and there and here and there. And he recognized it was Biharidas, who had been the servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. And he looked at Yamunananda. He said, just see. I used to carry Babaji Maharaj around on a basket on my back. Now I can barely walk by myself. So Yamunananda was obviously, with his thirsty eyes, indicated he wanted to hear some nice leelas. And Biharidas, of course, understood the hint. So he immediately began to tell so many pastimes that they had with Babaji Maharaj. He said one time, Jagannath Das Babaji was staying in Mayapur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, whom he was very, very friendly with, came to his mutt with a big Sankirtan party and asked him to join. So Jagannath Das Babaji, Biharidas put Jagannath in his basket and they began walking toward what is now known as the Yoga Pit. And from the other side, another kirtan party was coming from Belpukur. And both kirtan parties met at an empty piece of land that was now known as the Yoga Pit. And Babaji Maharaj, he got out of the basket because he was over 130 years old at this time. And he was, we always seen all the pictures. He was hunchbacked and bent over, and he couldn't walk, he couldn't sit properly. But whenever there was kirtan, somehow he would stand up. And he was very tall, and he'd raise his hands and dance and jump. So he immediately got out of the basket and began dancing and dancing and dancing. And then he took his stick, and Biharidas, while he was narrating, he took his own stick and he went, crack! He said, he just smacked it on the ground. He just smacked it on the ground, went, crack! With a live, audiovisual demonstration, crack! Like that. And he said, Eto Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Janmasthana. Eto, this is the place where Mahaprabhu appeared. This is the place where Mahaprabhu appeared. And then he jumped. We've heard so many things, but this was an eyewitness. He jumped 1 meter high. I've heard so many things, 15 feet or so many things. But anyway, this was an eyewitness account. He jumped at least 1 meter high. And then he led them across the field, and there was a well. Inside that well, they found a broken madranga. So, therefore, our pranam mantra for Jagannath Das Babaji, Gora Vibhava Bhumis Tvam, Gora Vibhava, Avirbhav, Gora Avirbhav, the Bhumis, the place, the Bhumi, the place, Gora Vibhava Bhumi. So, Nirdesha, he pointed it out. This was an eyewitness account of that particular event. And Biharidas told so many stories of one time, because sometimes he would stay in Suryakund, sometimes he would stay in Braj, and 6 months he would stay in Navadvip. So we go back and forth. So one time they were staying in Navadvip, and somebody had built a nice little kutir, and people used to come and see Babaji Maharaj, and they would always leave some small donation. And Biharidas used to keep all those things in a special pot. And whenever Jagannath Das Babaji needed anything, then he would purchase all the things like that. So he was thinking one day that he should keep aside some money for any type of emergency that may come with Jagannath Das Babaji. Now Babaji Maharaj, he was so old, he had to hold up his eyelids. Just like one eye, I have to practically do that nowadays. Anyway, so he couldn't see anything. But he kept 15 rupees aside for some emergency in the it was for the service of Jagannath Das Babaji. And he put it away and he came back. And Jagannath Das Babaji, with a grave voice, said, "Where did you put that 15 rupees? He was wondering, he can't see anything. How does he know I kept 15 rupees? He said he never asked for accounts of anything. He just spent money and I gave it to him and he never asked it. What did you do with that 15 rupees? And he explained that I was keeping it aside for your service. He said, no, whatever money comes should be spent. Prabhupada was also like that. He said, whatever money you get, you spend. If somebody comes and gives you $1,00,000 or $1,00,000 rupees, then a Vaishnava, he comes next day, it's gone. Can I have another one? He said, that's a Vaishnava. Whatever he gets, he spends in the service of the Lord. He doesn't save. So, he said another time, Babaji asked him, they were staying in Navadvip at this time, and he said, please give me 200 rupees. Now in those days, 200 rupees was a huge amount of money. Now 200 rupees we don't even think about. But those days 200 rupees was a lot of money. And he told Biharidas, you go to the store and buy rasgullas. Now 200 rupees of rasgullas was a huge amount of rasgullas. He said, I'm going to feed all the cows of the Dham. So he went around and he fed all the cows of the Dham. Another time, he was staying in I can't remember exactly where it was, but they were staying in Navadvip. And outside of his bhajan kutir, one dog had 4 or 5 puppies. And Babaji's habit was to come out of his bhajan kutir and sit down in the daylight and fresh air and take his prasad. So he always noticed all these 4 or 5 puppies, they would come all surround his plate and try to lick his prasad. So Biharidas got disturbed by this. So he pushed the puppies away. He grabbed the puppies and took them outside the compound. And when he returned, Babaji Maharaj said, look, I'm not going to eat unless you bring those dogs. You bring those puppies, I won't eat. So then he brought them back, and although Babaji Maharaj couldn't see, he would feel with his hands and counted all the puppies are there. Then he began to eat peacefully while the puppies were licking up the same prasad. He said, these are the dogs of the Dham. So before you go throwing stones and kicking the dogs and the monkeys, of course they're very rascal, but anyway. And sometimes he was staying in Suryakund because there was very wonderful Babaji there that Jagannath Das Babaji took his Babaji vase from Bhagavad Das Babaji Maharaj, so he used to stay there sometimes in Suryakund. And one time he wanted a deity, and he told Biharidas, Biharidas told, this is another story Biharidas told, and so we have the eyewitness, that he went all the way to Bengal and he got some very beautiful brass deities of Gaur-Nitai, and he went to Navadvip and had them painted properly, and then he brought them back, and Jagannath Das Babaji installed them on the altar and began to worship them. But although they were brass, they had a very shining golden complexion. So gradually the thieves, because somehow or other, although this is the holy Dham, it's filled with thieves. Of course our Lord was a thief, so naturally all his followers are thieves. So some thieves broke in one night, but as they were trying to carry the deities, they got to the door, and right on the door, what do you call it? Threshold, yeah. They fell down on the wood and made a horrible sound. Crack! And everyone woke up and the thieves fled away. So then Babaji Maharaj was very disturbed, so he told Biharidas, you take them to Vrindavan and you find a nice Brahmin family and let them worship them. So if you know where Radha Gopinath temple is, just from the entrance of Radha Gopinath, instead of going into Radha Gopinath, you turn right, away from, depends on where you're coming from, but anyway, you turn away from the entrance of Radha Gopinath, and you go down almost to the end. On the right side, there's a small little temple there. And that because they were very golden, they were known as Sonar Garang. Another name for gold, besides Suvarna, is Sona. Sona somehow or other also means sleep. Anyway, Sona hai. Sleep is golden. So anyway, they're called Sonar Garanga. And you can go there, and there are some little Brahmin family is very nicely taking care of them. And they have some stone there with some Babaji carved on it. They claim that's Jagannath Das Babaji. I don't know. I've never investigated fully, but anyway, some people don't believe. So anyway, but you can go there, just in a little house there in that, I guess it's called Dobi Gully or something like that. And the only movie theater, of course it's all fallen apart and broken down, but it's the only movie theater in Vrindavan, called, because it was so old, it's called Vrindavan Talkies. Because that was a big deal when they added sound to the movies, it was a big deal. So the movie theaters from that time are called talkies. So you can see the ruins of Vrindavan Talkies. So they're still being worshipped there. But still, Babaji Maharaj was feeling unsatisfied without a deity to worship. So he told Bihari Das that you go to a certain place, I can't remember, so ways distance from Radhakund, and in a bundle of hay, you'll find a very beautiful deity of Sadbhuj Mahaprabhu. So Bihari Das, he went to that place, quite a distance from Radhakund. He found this beautiful deity. He took him to Radhakund and had them paint them very nicely. And then he brought them to Suryakund, which is about 8 kilometers from Radhakund. Very beautiful place. Now the government has fixed it up, beautiful. We used to just go through the rice fields, and it was sometimes quite muddy, and we'd be sinking in the mud, and so many things. Now they made it beautified it completely, and it was just a tiny little temple there, Suryakund. But there was one devotee, when I was temple president, he was our Sankirtan leader, Krishna Chaitanya. He was an interesting fellow. He was from Rajasthan, but he lived in Nepal, so he knew Nepali and Rajasthani both. But later he left, he took sannyas from, I can't remember what his name. Since COVID, my memory is shot. I used to be very proud. Krishna smashed me. I can't remember his name. Anyway, there was just an old Mayavadi sannyasi staying there who was very, very irritable. Of course, it's very difficult because we say in Brishvasa, Brishvasi or Bandhu ek saman. Brishvasi or monkey, they're the same. So the Brishvasis always teased him. They're always, no matter what you do, they'll just tease you like anything. So he was quite old. He couldn't take this teasing anymore. So he gave it over to Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj. Krishna Chaitanya begged from all his godbrothers who were preaching in the West. And now he made a very beautiful, huge Gaudiya Math temple there with the 9 domes and everything. And beautiful sevas going on. Wonderful devotees there. We have his phone number, so whenever we go to Suryakund, we always call him, and he makes delicious khichdi prasad for all the devotees, breakfast prasad for all the devotees. You know his name? I can't remember. Anyway, a beautiful temple is there now. And the government made beautiful ghats there. On the other side is beautiful ghat, where Bhagavad Das Babaji used to do his bhajan, and several others used to do their bhajan on the opposite side. And very nice rotis in this village. Very nice braj rotis. So Sometimes he was staying at Suryakund. One time while he was staying in Braj, he took madhukari. See, madhukari means like a bee. You see the bee, he goes to one flower, takes a little nectar. He goes to another flower, takes a little nectar. Goes to another flower, he takes another nectar, little nectar. That way he doesn't disturb any flower too much. Just one little bit here, a little bit there. So this is called, all the sadhus in Braj, they go around from householder to householder, and they get one roti here, another roti there, some sag here, little dal here, some sweet rice here. They don't give burden to any householder too much. So they do it, that's like a bee, so this is called madhukari. And so many sadhus have told me there's no other place like Braj where you can actually do this. 98% they're all vegetarian. You can't do it in Navadvip or Mayapur. Everybody's fish eater. But still, because I always heard that Mayapur and Vrindavan, they're non-different. I said, well, how is it you can't do madhukari here? But actually, somehow or other, Gaudiya Math is split up into so many Gaudiya Maths. So it's like you can go to one and take prasad there, you can go to another and take prasad there, you can go to another. Especially when they see me coming, oh Baba, come, take prasad. It's time for prasad, come take prasad. So it's that one way I began to see the non-difference. It's also a type of madhukari. You go to one mat, take some prasad, next day go to another mat. It's also a type of madhukari. But they told me there's no other place in Braj. You just walk around and ask someone, Hari Bol, Broti Do, Hari Radhesham, madhukari. And you get these nice, thick rotis. You guys, you all know chapati, you don't know roti. Chapati you make like this, and our Gujarati friends, they make them just like piece of paper. But Braj, we don't use this. Like this. Pa! So nice and thick with homemade ghee or makan on top, butter. So you get rotis and you get Brishbasi kheer. Sometimes we go to our devotees or life members' houses, it looks like, some rice is swimming in the milk or something. But Brishbasi kheer, you don't even need a bowl. You just put it right on the patal, right on the plate. So thick and nice. Whoa. So anyway, he did madhukari at the house of a sweeper. Now this is the lowest down caste, the sweepers. So all the other Babas began to criticize him. And he said, why have you come here to Braj? You've come here to take advantage of the dust. You'll see most of the sadhus in Braj, you'll all see them walking barefoot. Because Kṛṣṇa, he also was walking barefoot on this dust. So this dust is mixed with the lotus foot dust of Sri Kṛṣṇa. So all the sadhus are hoping, they go barefoot, hoping that maybe one of those little specks of dust from Krishna's lotus foot is there, and I will touch that. Oh, mera udar ho jayega, I'll be saved. So you came here for this dust of Braj. These people, they're sweeping that dust of Braj. It's in their hair, it's in their eyes, it's in their mouth, it's between their teeth, all over their whole bodies. It's covered with dust of Braj. Actually, they're all gopis. You don't know. In the night, they go for Ras Leela. And he told Biharidas, take me to Navadvip. These people are all monkey renunciants. And many times that Yamunananda said that Biharidas told me, not Yamunananda, but Biharidas told Yamunananda that many times Babaji said, don't stay here in Braj. Too many monkey sannyasis are here. Also in Navadvip, he had so much trouble. Biharidas told so many stories of Navadvip. So many people would try to bother and imitate Jagannath Das Babaji and beg him for... He said there was a Gaur Hari, and he came, he wanted to get initiation, but Babaji just kept sending him away. He said, but Gaur Hari was very determined. He said 15 days he kept coming and coming and coming. Then Babaji Maharaj, all right, go to the Ganga, take bath, and then I'll give you initiation. So in this way, we could go on and on about Jagannath Das Babaji, but time is short. So we'll talk a little bit something about Rasikananda. And there was one, we know that there was, in the second generation of Vaishnavacharyas, there was Shyamananda, Srinivas, and Narottam. And they all studied with Jiva Goswami. And Shyamananda's temple is, of course, Radha Shyam Sundar downtown. But the Radha Shyam Sundar of Shyamananda that was given to him by Radharani, that's not the big one, that's from Baladev Vidyabhusan. But just to his, your left, if you're looking at the altar, on the left, no, on the right side, excuse me, there's some small deities. Those are the deities that were given to Shyamananda by Srimati Radharani. So there was in tiny village called Rohini, almost like Rohini, just like now in Gaur Purnima, no, not Gaur Purnima, on the same day as our appearance of Ram Nomi, they're opening a huge temple in Rohini in Delhi. But this was a Rohini somewhere in Bengal or Bangladesh, I can't remember right now. And that king of that place, he had a wonderful son in Kartik month. And he was overjoyed seeing the beauty of his son. But for a long time, he didn't get a hair. Finally, he got a hair. And he named him as Murari. And somehow he also became, his nickname became Rasik Murari. And he became very learned in the scriptures, and he was very anxious to get a guru. And he was praying and praying and praying that Krishna would send him a guru so that he could advance in spiritual life. One night, one time he was walking and a voice from the sky exclaimed that you will meet your guru very soon. So Murari became very happy. And that voice actually mentioned his name, Shyamananda. So he just began chanting the name of Shyamananda, almost like japa. Shyamananda, 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 Shyamananda. He was chanting and chanting and praying and praying. That night in dream, Shyamananda appeared to him. He said, in the morning, when the eastern sky becomes reddish, it's like we sing, Udilo Aruna Purava. Purav means eastern, Bhagi, portion. Udilo Aruna Purava Bhagi. When the eastern side becomes tinged with red, then I will meet you. Aruna means red. So, he woke up and he went back to sleep just so excited. So next morning immediately got up before the sunrise. He went out and faced the path toward coming from the east, and he was waiting and waiting. And sure enough, here came Shyamananda with all his disciples chanting the holy name. And he was so enamored hearing the holy name from Shyamananda. And he bowed down and touched his feet, and Shyamananda embraced him. And then Shyamananda gave him Diksha, named him Rasikananda. So from Rasika Murari he became Rasikananda, and ordered him to preach all over the area. And at this time, I forgot, Rasikananda, naturally the king, he wanted his son to become the king, so he had already gotten him married to a very nice devotee girl. And so Shyamananda, he initiated both Rasikananda and his wife, and he engaged them in the service of a very beautiful deity called Govindadev, and they're in the village. So, and Rasikananda, he was very famous preacher. So many people became his disciples. Even dacoits, there was bloodthirsty dacoits who gave up their sinful life and became his disciples. Even Muslims became disciples of him. Even one elephant. There was one Mohammedan, and he sent a mad elephant to crush Rasikananda. And Rasikananda made him a devotee. His name became Gopal Das, and he would fan the deities with a yaktail fan, and when the devotees would take prasad, then afterwards that elephant would go, Gopal Das would go and pick up all the dirty plates. So that poor Muslim came and fell at his feet and begged forgiveness. And even kings and very important government officers, so many people became his disciples. And he preached very vigorously all over the area. And finally, Shyamananda Pete is in Gopi Ballabpur, just not far from Kharagpur and Midnapur. They're like Kharagpur, if you go from Bengal to Puri, the midway point is Kharagpur on the railway line. There's two twin cities are Kharagpur and Midnapur. So not far from there is Gopi Ballabpur. I've been there, it's a very beautiful place. Very peaceful, very beautiful deity, very wonderful service going on in the Shyamananda's feet. And it was a very wonderful place. So he engaged him in serving the deity of Gopi Ballabh in that place, who, I can't, what is his name nowadays? Have a different name. But anyway, he was engaged there. And one time, it's very interesting, because many people came to challenge him, even atheists were converted by Rasikananda. And there was one Muslim fakir, he heard about the glories of Rasikananda. So he came riding on a tiger. And everyone ran, and Rasikananda was sitting on a broken wall, with his neem twig, brushing his teeth. They said, "Oh, Rasikananda, this Muslim's coming, this fakir or dervish, whatever he was, he's coming, riding on a tiger." And Rasikananda said, "No problem." He just continued brushing his teeth. Suddenly, that wall began to gallop. And Rasikananda went to meet that dervish riding on his tiger. From a distance, he saw Rasikananda coming on a galloping wall. He immediately turned his tiger around and ran away. He said, "I've tamed a living being, a living creature. But this guy, this wall is untamed, and he's tamed that, an unliving creature." So this way, there's so many amazing stories. If you go to the Shyamananda Mandir, there they claim that he was the incarnation of Aniruddha. They call him Aniruddha Avatar. You'll see the picture there, beautiful painting there. And on this day, on the first day of the bright half of the month of Falgun, then Rasikananda left this world. So these are all very auspicious days for us to honor. And then today, from I think 10 o'clock something onwards, there's a program in Balaram Hall for His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So anybody has any questions or comments? Yes?
How can we please these great acharyas? How can we get their mercy and please them? How can we please and get the mercy of these great, great acharyas?
Well, the Shyamananda told Rasikananda that you preach widely the message of Sriman Mahaprabhu. So that's the best way, because that also is the greatest of all the acharyas, that is Srila Prabhupada. We were duller than stone walls, but Srila Prabhupada tamed all of us. So he's the greatest acharya, and his joy was, we hear in Lilamrita, whenever he'd hear the Sankirtan results, he says, "This is the only thing that's giving me solace." So if you want to please all the great acharyas, somehow or other you continue pushing on the movement of Srila Prabhupada. Anyway, anyhow. I still have that letter. Prabhupada said, somehow you push on this, you hear this message, and then you preach it in your own way. Prabhupada wrote a letter to me like that.
So. What does vitally mean? This planet, this whole universe, or the whole material existence? What does vitally mean?
Well, if we finally, they keep trying so much for interstellar travel, let's see. Maybe our grand disciples will be preaching in the universe. But Lord Ramachandra, of course there's countries where the squirrel or a spider, but anyway, most Indians say it was a squirrel. Actually a chipmunk, they say. When Ramchandra petted him like that's how he got the stripes. Squirrel is much bigger and gray, or reddish, some of them are reddish. The little chipmunk was, Hanuman was throwing huge stones into the ocean to make a bridge for Lord Ramachandra. So this little chipmunk was there, whatever little dust or pebbles he could throw in, he was throwing, and Hanuman almost stepped on. He said, "What are you doing? Get out of here." And Ramachandra immediately came there and says, "No, his service is equal to yours." Hanuman was bringing whole peaks of mountains. And this guy just throwing little pebbles and dirt into the ocean. He said, "No, I accept his service as equal." So whatever you can do, you do. If you're a squirrel, then you do like a squirrel. If you're an elephant, then do like an elephant. If you're Hanuman, then do like Hanuman. Even there in, I can't remember. It must be Garga Samhita says that Hanuman came and he ripped up Govardhan, who was the son of Dronachal in the Himalayas. And when he passed over Braj, the news came that the bridge is complete. No, we don't need any more stones. So he set Govardhan down here in Braj. And Govardhan began to cry. He said, Lord Ramachandra was going to step on me. If you don't take me, then I will be bunted. I will not have this opportunity. And he was getting ready to curse Hanuman. So Hanuman said, "Wait a minute," and he went there to the end of the bridge, and he told Ramachandra what happened. And Ramachandra says, "You go back. You tell him that don't worry. When Dwapar Yuga comes, I will hold him on my little pinky for 1 whole week. So don't worry." So he came back here and he told Govardhan, "Don't worry. Krishna will come here in Dwapar Yuga and he'll hold you on his little pinky for a week." So he sat here meditating, when will Lord Krishna come? So whatever you can do, you do. So if there's no other questions, then we'll fall down and pray for the mercy of all these great acharyas on our fallen selves. Srila Prabhupada ki.